addition to the restoration department. 1937 350 New Imperial. Quite a unique bike, especially this special, what they call the Draper back end, rear suspension. For the experts, you can see the cantilever effect. New Imperials are quite close to my heart. First race I ever won was on the 150 New Imperial. Temple Grass Track, 200cc, scratch race, 1953. Miller won it. Charlie Carson was second. Unfortunately, later Charlie Carson was killed road racing in Sweden, but one of those things. As a boy, I was mystified because when we were kids working on it, we could never get the timing right because the engine runs backwards, because you get primary gears here. So if you're driving there like that, that drives the engine anti-clockwise. So you've got to reverse the timing. So instead of coming up this way, top dead center, it comes up the other way. So it's really after top dead center generally, but these are the primary helical gears to do away with the chain, which is quite a good feature, but noisy, because if you get clatter on the gears, you get a lot of noise with the gears. We got it from a chap only last week, Peter Turner from Basingstoke. Unfortunately, was in very poor health, so we decided to donate a 150 New Imperial. We'll probably have a look at that next time. And the 350 New Imperial. He'd had him for over 50 years, buried under sheets, but he realized that he was never ever going to get round to restoring them. So he donated them to the museum, and I met him actually the day he was going into hospital, and he was a very happy man that he knew that his bikes were going to be restored in our workshop, and I assured him that would be restored and put on display. And if he ever got better, he was more than welcome to come and have the first ride on the 350 with a Draper back end. Other things to look at on this: very deep tank, big capacity tank, and valance guards, which are quite rare. And I'm pleased they're all salvageable, because that's quite unique, the valance on the guard. So we'll be able to salvage all that. Stupid things in the old days, the design of old bikes were really stupid. That's a footrest, and it weighs an absolute ton. We shall weigh it here just to see the weight of it. There you go. It's over 2 kilos weight for a footrest. Unbelievable. And you end up put an aluminium front rear number plate on it. Like, you know, how mad can you get? And what's more cynical about, they all did this in the 30s, monster footrest. So if you do damage the footrest or hit something, not only you don't bend the footrest, you bend the frame or wreck the bottom of the engine. But if it was a weaker footrest, like on my Imperial here, it just folds out of the way, so you don't wreck half the bike if you crash into a rock, you know. So not good. The seat was missing, so I've done a bit of work on it yesterday. I've designed it. You see the cantilever here, don't worry about that's the seat movement for the springs. You've got to watch the back end, because the seat stays still and the mudguard comes up and down like that, so you need to have sufficient movement here for your rear suspension. This is the tank coming off here. So there you go, that's the tank. You can see it hasn't been off for quite a long time. This is the oil gauge that pops through here, and if you don't have that button coming up when you're riding it, you're in trouble. You have no oil pressure. You can see there's plenty of oil in the engine, so that's a good sign that, and it's quite clean oil. And so the engine may not be too drastic. If you get a load of crud and filings when you do that, you know you get severe problems. Then you move on to the exhaust systems. That's a screw fitting on here. Where it's a bit tight, but so that's the exhaust. threaded on here, gasket for here. We'll salvage those so that silencer, that's the original shape, so we'll be able to use, that's patched up there so it doesn't fall to bits. We'll be able to use that for dimension size, barrel size, inlet size to match up to the original exhaust pipe. This exhaust pipe here will have to be again renewed. The clutch, I've had all the clutch apart, and that's quite handy too. It's steel rather than alloy, but all the clutch plates look quite sensible. All the serrations are quite healthy. They haven't been really chewed up, which is a good sign. Another good sign is, if you look at the rear wheel sprocket on vintage bikes, if the sprockets are worn out, you know it's done serious mileage, but the teeth on the sprockets look quite healthy, so that means that it hasn't done hundreds of thousands of miles, because if you get a bike where there's no teeth left on the sprockets, you know you're in for problems. Another very important thing you must do before you start stripping bikes off is check the alignment, because if you rip the whole thing apart, repainted it, rebuilt it, and put it together and find the frame was bent, you wouldn't be a happy chappy. So we put straight edges down here. How you've got, that's a 300 in the front, 325 in the back, so you've got a little bit of clearance either side. So that looks basically quite good in line that way. And then we need to check the verticalness. So you're now happy that the both wheels are vertical and they're both in line, so the frame isn't bent or the forks ain't bent, which is a big relief. Right, we mentioned about the toolbox, period 1937 accessory toolbox, and we've now mounted that. Follow the contours of the valance rear guard, the V's of the tube as per the original photograph from the factory, so that all looks neat and tidy, so all ready to be stripped out, grit blasted off, and then stove enameled. Part of the history of the new Imperial, which really makes it a lot more authentic when you've got the original, they call these the buff logbooks. So you've got your registration number, new Imperial, engine and frame number, 350cc, and the first owner's, it's its pedigree as it were. So if you've got a valuable dog with no pedigree, he's not worth much, but if you've got, same with a motorbike, if you've got a good bike and a good pedigree, it makes it a great combination. It goes down in history as one of the major manufacturers from the UK, Jones, Norton, Villasets, Rudge, New Imperial, up there with the top. So pleasure to have it.